the world is going to try to draw you into idolatry. It will punish you. It will exclude you or punish you economically, socially. It may even take your life, but you must not compromise. You will certainly lose something, maybe your life, but may just be um, uh, economic punishment
Hmm.
or judgment, or not judgment, but you might lose your job,
Consequence.
the consequence.
Hmm.
Um, but don't compromise. Why? Because your heavenly reward is greater.
Mm.
Now, then people say, well, I thought there was no more judgment in the church.
Hmm.
Somebody asked me this question after that discussion. Well, the judgment is for the lost. But no, there's a word for judgment, the judgment of condemnation. The Greek is katakrima, but there's also the verb krino, which means to judge. And Paul says explicitly in 1 Corinthians that God is judging the church. That's
Mm.
why some of you, or many of you, are sick, and some have even died.
Hmm.
And Revelation is the same kind of idea. Jesus is coming to the church to judge it, to sift it, to prune it with the view of discipline and purifying.
Hmm.
And so uh, the judgment against the world may result in eternal death, but when God disciplines the church, it's a redemptive purpose. So I'm sorry that's very long, but I'm trying to summarize something in the book, profound in the book of Revelation, in
Yep.
4 or 5 minutes or something. And so, what is our response then? So, our response in the church as Christians is primarily, what is God addressing in us? Not looking over at our unsaved neighbor
Hmm.
and pontificating about what God's addressing in them, but how about me? What is God addressing in me, in my congregation, in my life as a Christian?
Hmm.
Is there compromise? Is there lukewarmness? Um, is there in our society, our churches become, a mile wide and an inch deep, and
Hmm.
there's a lot of hoo-ha on a Sunday morning, everybody gets excited, but then they go home and they live the same way their unsaved neighbor does through the week or
Right.
whatever. Is there prayerlessness? Is there a lack of financial commitment? Is there lack of holiness and all these different things? Is there compromise with idolatry? And God is and we have to answer that question. And if the church, I know the church, I'm using it broadly, but I'll just say it for the sake of argument. If the church comes out of this the same as it went into it, we
Hmm.
will not have heard God speaking in
Mm.
a major period of judgment. And that is a very serious matter. We need to hear let him who has ears hear what the Spirit is saying.
Yeah. It's really good. Um, there's a lot.
Yeah.
Through the course of that, I've had like 5 questions that I've wanted to ask her.